When we are asked to do any task, if we will say, "I'd be delighted," it will change how we think about the task we've been asked to do. You see, it is our attitude, and our attitude can help us or hurt us. Our response to different situations can be and become a delight, or it can become a nightmare. Again, it is how we choose to respond. Welcome to Music, Motivation, and More, the Positivity Podcast. I am your host, Jerald Simon. I am the founder of Music Motivation and the creator of the Cool Songs Club. Today's podcast is titled, I'd Be Delighted. Now I want you to think about those words, I'd be delighted. When we are asked to do any task, if we will say, I'd be delighted, it will change how we think about the task we've been asked to do. You see, it is our attitude, and our attitude can help us or hurt us. Our response to different situations can be and become a delight, or it can become a nightmare. Again, it is how we choose to respond. For the positive perceptions portion of this podcast, I'd like to read from my book, Perceptions, Parables, and Pointers. This is found on page 35. It talks about seeing what needs to be done and doing it. Let me read this. See what needs to be done and do it. Don't wait to be told. Don't seek a reward or wait until others are watching. If you see something that needs fixing, fix it. Don't procrastinate. Go to work. Do what must be done when it needs doing. Always look for what needs to be done and do it. And how should we do whatever needs to be done? We should do it with a smile. We should do it with a twinkle in our eyes. Sometimes we are asked to do difficult things, and sometimes we are asked to do things that we don't want to do. Yes, there is hard work that needs to be done, but even the most dirty and disgusting of jobs available are wonderful because they give us an opportunity to do what must be done, to work. And work is wonderful. For the Motivation in a Minute portion of this podcast, I would like to read from my book, Perceptions, Parables, and Pointers, a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. This is found on page 172 of my book, Perceptions, Parables, and Pointers, and this is what it says. I believe that anyone can conquer fear by doing the thing he fears to do, provided he keeps doing them until he gets a record of successful experiences behind him. Again, we can do anything that must be done, but we must have faith. We must conquer that fear by doing the thing we fear to do. And how must we do it? I encourage you to always say, I'd be delighted. For the Music Within portion of this podcast, I would like to have us listen to Hereafter from my album, The Dawn of a New Age. This is an instrumental New Age album of original piano solos I have composed, and I'd love to have you listen to Hereafter from The Dawn of a New Age. For the Poetry That Motivates portion of this podcast, I would like to read one of the poems from my book, The As If Principle, Motivational Poetry. This poem is titled, Know That I Can, and it's on page 122. Know that I can. The land of all that might have been, that should have, would have, and could have been, is a land that far too many know. With broken hearts and shattered dreams, distraught dilemmas and soured schemes. Too many yearn for what they should have done, what they might have accomplished and could have become. The land of all that might have been, that should be, and could be, and might again, was a land of possibility, of dreams and hopes and plans, a land that all have longed for, a land of a million I cans. This land that might have been, must be, and will be if we dream and plan. It can be and should be what we want it to be, a land of the know that I can. We know we can do anything we put our mind to, but how we do things, whether we do it with an I can attitude or an I cannot attitude, it will build us up or it will tear us down. Remember the phrase, I'd be delighted. Just saying those words will shift your perspective, your focus. I'd be delighted. We can do things willingly, or we can be forced to do something. We can grudgingly go forward, not wanting to do what we have been asked to do, or we can be positive. We can change our attitude. We can look for the good within any bad situation, and we can find the good, because there is always good to be found. I'd be delighted. It's a simple phrase. It doesn't take much to say, but it will change your perspective, the thoughts you think, the words you speak, and the actions you pursue. I'd be delighted. I hope you will be delighted today and every day as you go throughout your day, that you will find the best. Look for the good. Bring out the best in others, and have a great day today and every day. Thanks for listening. Have a great day today. See you guys. Bye. Subscribe to Music, Motivation, and More, the Positivity Podcast with Jerald Simon, to receive updates about each new weekly podcast. Every Monday, a new podcast is released to help motivate and inspire individuals to learn, to grow, to do, to be, and become the very best they can become. These are all motivational messages that inspire men and women of all ages to do and be their best, to set goals, to work on improving who they are and who they would like to become. Thank you again for listening. Connect with us on social media to become part of the conversation as we all work together to motivate each other to do and be our best. Thanks for listening to Music, Motivation, and More, the Positivity Podcast. I am your host, Jerald Simon, and I'm grateful to have you listen to this podcast. Every Monday we come out with a brand new podcast, and you can listen to it on any of the podcast streaming sites available. Just search for Music, Motivation, and More, the Positivity Podcast with Jerald Simon. Any of the music that I've shared in these podcasts, you can listen to. All of my music is available on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Amazon, and any streaming site available. You can also check out my music books at musicmotivation.com, and you can find my poetry, self-help, and motivational books available from Amazon.com, from Barnes & Noble, and from all different online shops and stores. If you have any questions about the music that I create through my company, Music Motivation, you can learn more at musicmotivation.com, and you can visit my website, coolsongsclub.com, to learn more about how I create fun, cool piano music that helps motivate piano students to want to play the piano the fun way, especially during their teenage years. I'd love to have you check that out. But thank you again for listening. Please feel free to connect with me on any of the social media sites out there. You can watch my YouTube videos on youtube.com/Jerald Simon. You can connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all social media sites at Jerald Simon. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, keep up the great work and have fun. See you guys. Bye.